Welcome to Patreon Goes Postal. It's time once again for me to answer the questions that you have sent to me in various ways that I have had to now hunt down and compile onto this piece of paper that I like to claim that Patreon has actually sent me. Let me open up this envelope. And how about some questions? Huh? Alright. We'll start out with Miss Alexandria, who asks, have you ever been recognized in public because of YouTube? If so, did you have a positive or negative experience? I've talked about one of these experiences in my Lifestyles of the YouTube Famous special, which I think might be on Patreon for free. If not, then I probably should put it on there. But anyway, I talked about that one, so I won't talk about that again. But I've had a few others, and they're all relatively positive. I'm still alive. None of them involve me getting stabbed, so that's good news. But one of them, we'll start with the one that was kind of the sort of most humbling, I guess we'll call it, is I was in Toronto at a gaming thing. It was for HeroClix. If you guys aren't familiar with HeroClix, feel free to look them up. But I was at a HeroClix tournament because I'm such a cool motherfucker with the world's biggest dick. And at this thing, and it was taking place at a place called 401 Games. And there's two of these locations in Toronto. I forget which one I was at, but anyway, at this particular location, this young lady was working there. I want to say maybe about 23, 24 at the time, and this was only a few years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago. And I'm buying something while I'm in the middle of games, and she goes, are you Buckley from A Dose of Buckley? And I said, yeah. And she goes, yeah, I used to watch your stuff. And I go, oh, but not anymore? Or... And she's like, well, no, not really. And I said, oh, that's fine. We all have interests that we get bored of eventually and move on from, so that's fine. But it's kind of funny, like, how the fuck do you answer that, or what do you say to that? Like, oh, I used to watch you. Yeah, but now you don't because I suck, right? Like, that's fine. But that was one. Another time was I was at a grocery store, and this one a little bit awkward is I meet this person in the aisle. I don't know, let's say we're in the cereal aisle, right? And same deal. They're like, oh my god, are you Buckley from A Dose of Buckley? And I said, yep, it's me. Big fan, so on and so forth, whatever. Oh, that's really cool. So I shake their hand, I forget their name, but I always ask. I just put my hand up, I'm like, oh, what's your name? I'm trying to be a good celebrity, I guess. I don't know. And, they tell me their name. So I said, oh, well, it's good meeting you. Have a good one. So the thing is, though, we're grocery shopping. So I'm going one way, they're going the other, and we, pass, and then go down the next aisle, and we pass, and we go down the next aisle, and we pass, and, by 2 or 3 of these, it's like, oh, hey again, it's good seeing you again, and then next time you just nod, and then after that, it's just like, oh my god, just hurry up, I can get done this grocery shop. I think I just ended up, go and check the meat aisle again, and so that was a fun one. The third one, I was at a computer store here in London, Ontario, and this guy, he's with maybe 2-3 friends of his, which is pretty already hard to imagine at a computer store that someone's with friends. But anyway, they're at this computer store, and they're looking at stuff, and again, same deal. We're in an aisle, we run into each other, and guy's like, oh, aren't you Buckley from A Dose of Buckley? And yeah, I am. I don't know, again, we're talking like 3, 4, 5 years ago, when I was like very rarely on camera, with the exception of doing Jason's Japinions or things like that. And so kind of amazing that these people would recognize me at all. unless it was from my voice. And I've had that happen a couple times too, where they didn't recognize me until I said something. But these people all did it from visually. And this person, you know, was nice, you know, hey, you know, that's great, I'm a big fan, so on and so forth. Their friends have no fucking idea who I am, which, number one, like, fucking tell your friends about me. God damn, I can use the views. Second is, he tells us, like, oh, do you know who this is? And they're like, no, I have no fucking idea. Like, who the fuck is this guy? And like, oh, it's a dose of Buckley. And their friend's like, yeah, I don't know what that means. I don't know who that is. He goes, oh, well, he's got like, you know, 550,000 subscribers on YouTube. All of a sudden, this changes everything. Guy who has no idea who I am, doesn't give a fuck who I am, all of a sudden goes, oh, really? Oh, he sticks his hand out. Oh, it's nice to meet you. Oh, that's really cool. It's 550,000 views, eh? Oh, man, our subscribers. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, I gotta check this. I'm gonna check you out, man. What's this channel again called? Something about, you know, fucking licking Buckleys or something? Tasting a Buckley? What? It's a dose of Buckley. Oh, that's great, man. Cool. And, you know, to this day, I have no idea if that person ever looked me up or whatever. But they're just so impressed by the number. And it's so funny to me. And, like, whatever. I'm not, like, I mean, I'm technically a millennial, right? I'm the same age bracket as the people who get made fun of for taking pictures of their food on Instagram and shit like that, right? But I just don't really, I mean, because you know, you've watched my videos. I'm not a huge celebrity culture fan in general. But these people, they just hear that number, right? And it's just like, oh, this person has this many Instagram likes. And that triggers a response in their head immediately of either admiration or jealousy. They're either pissed off by that number. They're like, oh, that person has that many subscribers. Oh, what the fuck? Or it's like, oh my God, you have that many subscribers? Oh my God, that's amazing. That's so cool of you. And it's just like, man, it's just a number. It's great. You know, I'm really happy that I have managed to get 500,000 subscribers and then some, and then lost, you know, another 70,000 of those. But, you know, that's great and everything, but a lot of it is just fucking dumb luck, right? So, yeah, I had to be good to get those people to subscribe to me. But at the same time, you look at some people that have a lot of subscribers and they have one video that was really big and the other videos doesn't matter, right? So they had one lucky break and then that was it. So I don't know. But those are the experiences that I've had. There's 3 of them right there. I've had a few others, not a ton, but a few others. And it's always been relatively positive. Ethan Skinner asks, do you feel like the growing divide in politics is natural or an unnatural occurrence? A little of both. I believe that the reason that it's so pronounced is, you know, could be considered unnatural, and that it's almost all because of the internet. I've said this before. Both sides. Let's just make sure so that no one gets upset. I don't want to upset anyone. But both sides on the extreme left and the extreme right didn't have, I guess, a support group or people that could become part of an echo chamber until the internet, right? So you've got these people who, you know, every fucking small town had one guy on either side, right? And they were just the fucking town crackpot, and you just kind of ignored them, and they didn't have anyone to echo their sentiments for them, and they just kind of were there, and you just made fun of them. Now, the internet has given all of those people a place to congregate, and now that 1 or 2, you know, fucking idiots in your town all go into one spot, and now there's, you know, 100,000, 200,000, a million of them all in one spot on fucking Reddit, on 4chan, on Twitter, on any social media platform that you can find, either one of the popular ones or one of the less popular ones, and they all just feed each other. And then you've got one saying, you know, well, what about this? oh my god, I never even thought about that. Well, yeah, no, that's probably true. And it's just like, you know, just the idiots feeding each other. And so I think that is unnatural. It wouldn't have happened that way. However, the natural part of it is that, I mean, we've seen this been going on forever. It's not like the current situation in the United States is new. It's just that we weren't alive for the last time this happened. And, you've got these people that are like, oh, yeah, well, the civil rights movement wasn't like this. And it's like, it pretty much was. Just, we don't have non-stop 24-hour footage from the internet to show us what it was like back then. But, there was rioting, there was, violence and unrest. It wasn't, it wasn't just one woman refused to fucking, sit in one spot of a bus and everyone went like, now you look back at that and, even the people on the right are like, well, I mean, yeah, okay, that's fine, yeah, sure. That's what they should be doing, just not sitting in, if they want to make a point, then just like, don't sit on the spot of the bus. It's like, no. Like, you're missing the point of, A, how big a deal that was back then, and B, the fact that, you don't get to decide the terms of this. But on the other side, of course, yes, obviously, the violence and all that kind of shit doesn't solve anything either, right? So destroying a whole bunch of businesses doesn't manage anything either. So, I don't know about natural versus unnatural in that regard, but I think that we've always had it. It's always been there. There's always been the Democrats and the Republicans, or Democrats versus Republicans, or left versus right, or whatever the case may be. And all those things have always been there, and we're just now, it's just now in our face constantly, right? Used to just be something you dealt with at Thanksgiving when your fucking crazy uncle showed up, and now it's all the time. So, Ethan had another question though too. So Ethan Skinner, you get 2 questions today. How about that? Do you think there will ever be a cure for cancer? Do I no. I mean, like in terms of, do I think that there's going to be a pill you take someday and or like a fucking immunization to cancer, based on, what cancer truly is and everything like that? No, I don't really believe that. I don't think that there'll be a one-off cure for cancer. Do I think that we will get better at treating cancers in maybe even later stages and things like that? Absolutely. I think that medical science will continue to get better at those types of things. However, and I get a question all the time. I didn't write it in here, from a guy that I've kind of been ignoring. This guy named Thor Stone. So shout out to you, Thor Stone, who's been a subscriber now and a supporter for a little while. I didn't mean to ignore you. I just didn't really like the question or didn't have any reason to answer it. But he had asked, do you believe in conspiracy theories? And I don't really believe in conspiracy theories to a certain degree. Like, I'm not like, oh yeah, the Area 51 and aliens and fucking chemtrails and I don't know, whatever, right? But I will say this, is that there is a little bit of a, what's the word I'm looking for? There's not a lot of reason to cure cancer, if you know what I mean, from a business perspective. To come up with some sort of inoculation or vaccine for cancer, just stick that in everyone's arms and no one ever gets cancer again, would be horrible for the medical business of the United States, and even in other places. We talk shit about the United States, those of us who don't live in the United States, about their system because of the fact that, we have, some of us in other places have socialized medicine, and we benefit greatly from that system. But that system also results in someone making money, doctors and scientists and things like that. It's not like they're making no money, it's just all that money comes from taxes and pays them that way. And they still need to be able to make a living, or still want to be able to make a living, and they're going to do that by whatever means necessary. And that may mean, holding back on a few breakthroughs here and there. I think maybe, maybe not, but you know, you look at the things like the Who Killed the Electric Car and advancements like that, and how obviously no one wants to see the entire oil industry destroyed, or certainly the oil industry doesn't want to see the entire oil industry destroyed and all the people that work within it. So there has been possibly conspiracies against that. And if you watch a movie called The Light Bulb Conspiracy, is that what it's called? I'm going to look it up, and then I'll put it here. But The Light Bulb Conspiracy, I think it was called. It's a movie about planned obsolescence. It's a documentary about planned obsolescence, and it talks about how light bulbs originally were made to last for like fucking ever, and then the light bulb companies like all got together as basically like a cabal and said, this is no good, like we're not making any money. So in order to sell light bulbs and basically not get fucking blackballed from the industry, you had to make your light bulbs last only a certain length of time. If they lasted longer than that, then you're fucking out of it. And so it's a very interesting documentary. It talks about printers as well, and like why printers all fail, and also talks about e-waste and some things like that. Really interesting documentary. So, you know, that's another side of it there. So I don't know about conspiracies and things like that, but I will say that I guess if that qualifies, and I guess I do believe in a conspiracy, and it's that people will do whatever they need to do in order to keep making money, even if it is at the peril or detriment of the general public. Dave of the Republic of Dave asks, how did, or does, Patreon change the way you choose content? Now, I will admit that I pretty much chose this question because of the Fallout 3, I think, reference for Dave of the Republic of Dave, so I really enjoyed that part of it. I don't think that Patreon has really changed the way I choose content at all. Probably should if I wanted to really make more money. I guess I should just make like fucking... Because here's the thing. Now, maybe I'm going to lose a few subscribers over this one, but I love my audience. Let's start with that, you know. You love your audience, you know, but there's an odd trend. Perhaps a little unfortunate, perhaps not, okay? Maybe I'm just whatever. Where anytime that I'm making fun of women, or, you know, things like that, or especially when I make fun of the left, you know, that stuff, high amount of likes, high views, which means possibly a high amount of sharing and that sort of thing. The Bella Thorne video that I did very well, especially in the sort of current, my new normal, we'll call it, of, you know, getting about, got me 100,000 views when most of my videos lately have been getting about 50,000, 60,000 views in a week. And the one about the other OnlyFans video, about the woman that was crying about that, did very well. Things like that, right? But then I make fun of Joe Rogan, or I make fun of Trump, of course, or I make fun of someone else like that, and I make fun of something that might, I guess, peg me as some sort of a leftist. Ooh. Then those videos do poorly, and I end up getting less views, less likes, people whining about that, you know, that kind of thing. And so I guess if I was to really sell out for Patreon, I guess, what I should be doing is just every video just bashing women, like, constantly, I guess. And it's, you know, I'm sure some of my subscribers are like, no, it's just that, like, you're more logical when you do those videos, but, like, when you talk about Trump, there's no logic there. It's like, I don't know, like, your fucking girlfriend wrote it or something. It's like, okay. I don't know, it's just kind of, there's another conspiracy. I don't know if that's a real conspiracy or not. But anyway, it's just that some of my audience, unfortunately, I sometimes wonder about their true motivations for what they really like about my content. And when you look at people who have been subscribed to me for like 7, 8, 9 years, I don't think they understand that when I said in the 10 Worst Songs of 2011 that, yeah, sure, I'm a misogynist, but I'm a real informed misogynist. That was a joke. I don't believe myself to be a misogynist. I don't identify as such. I don't hate women. It's just just a joke. It was just a comedic thing to say, and I don't know, but I think that some people take that a little bit too seriously there, and I do sometimes wonder if my audience, some very small percentage of my audience, just wants me to go back to calling Katy Perry and Kesha whores instead of actually trying to be clever and come up with important topics to talk about or interesting topics to talk about, and for me to speak my truth about those things. But is what it is. Martin Conrad says, this one links. Martin Conrad says, I have a question. Are there any jokes that you made in one of your doses and now cringe over, or any puns you're no longer proud of? I will say that I am proud of any pun I've ever made, plays on words, all of that stuff. That's the stuff that I enjoy doing, and when I really come up with something that I think is clever, that's the stuff that I will always enjoy. To the same degree of what I was just talking about, I don't regret it, okay? I'm certainly not going to apologize for it, and nor will I ever delete it or anything like that. But things like the old Kesha video where I'm not that clever, it's my early stuff. I'm being kind of a little bit just edgy for the sake of being edgy, trying to get some people on board with me, or trying to spark conversation, or whatever the case may be, right? And yes, a little bit of my influence in terms of internet content was a guy like Maddox from The Best Page in the Universe. And all of his stuff was really self-aggrandizing. And I don't know. Is aggrandizing a word? I'm going to look that up later. But anyway, and so just flat out saying oh yeah, you dumb whore, or something like that. That stuff I'm not overly, I don't know if I'd say I'm not proud of it, but it was easy, and it's an easy laugh to get, and there's nothing really exciting about that for me anymore. What I enjoy doing is writing stuff that is clever and really making fun of someone who deserves to be made fun of for something that they have done that is, obviously ridiculous, obviously stupid, and something like the Bella Thorne thing. But the flat out, just being look at that slaughter, look at this whore, things like that, it's just not stuff that I'm gonna do anymore. It's not stuff that I find particularly funny anymore. It's not that it's you're Buckley went SJW, I don't care. It's not I'm not, sorry to the ladies who watch me, it has nothing to do with the fact that it's demoralizing or demeaning to a certain degree. It's more that it's just not funny. It's just not there's nothing clever about it. There's nothing hard to write about that. Anyone can do that. Anyone can get a microphone and go, so Kesha, what a whore. And, especially in 10 years ago, get a bunch of laughs on the internet for that kind of thing, right? So it's not something that I'm interested in doing anymore. And I want to try and be more clever and more interesting with my own writing and push myself to do that kind of thing. So, I don't really cringe over it, but every now and then, I'll listen back to something old that I did and I'll just say, But interestingly enough, now that I have that, or I've opened the idea of Buckley versus Buckley, and I did the one video about the Black Lives Matter versus the police versus the Pride, Toronto Pride Parade group, something like that, I might revisit some of those videos again and say, hey, let's have a look at this, and what might I have changed? What could I do now to make it funnier? That sort of thing. But we'll see how that goes in the future. Also links. This is a real episode of Chain Reaction here. But if you guys don't know what Chain Reaction is, go look up an episode of Chain Reaction. It's an old game show, and it's kind of fun. Logan Phoenix says, are there any pieces of content that you've made that will never see the light of day? If so, what are they about? is there a subject you want to do a dose on, but don't think it will interest the audience? I'll start with the second part there. Every now and then there are topics that come up and I'm just like, this is just, it's too niche, or it's just too small of a topic. No one's going to find this interesting. And, actually, funny enough, I'm proven right, is the recent video I did about WWE's Thunderdome. So that video got like 35,000 views, and one could argue that you released it on a Wednesday, no one watches you on a Wednesday, like why would you do that, right? However, my OnlyFans video, the one about the Australian girl who was whining about how she wasn't able to make any more money on OnlyFans, or whatever the case may be, that video was released on a Wednesday and did incredible for the amount of views that I have been getting normally. It was up at the very top of the last 10 videos, which YouTube shows you your stats on. It'll be like, oh, if you release something in the last 24 hours, here's the top 10 videos within a 24-hour period and how they did. And that video was like right up at the top, right? So, so something like that, obviously didn't really have a lot of interest, didn't resonate with my audience. They don't give a shit about WWE. There was a time I thought about doing a video about trading cards, how baseball cards are kind of making a comeback, and the new trend is these like one-of-one cards. And so that's how they hook you, is the idea is that there's a card in the fucking collection, there's only one of it, one card, for the fucking 50,000 or 100,000 people collecting cards now. I have no idea, maybe it's more than that. And so, if you're the guy who gets that one card, that they've been selling lately for like $200,000-$300,000. It's ridiculous, right? But it's one card. It's I don't know, some baseball players signed it, and the card itself is it's unique. They've only printed that one ever. And so, I thought about doing a video about that and talking about how stupid I think that is. But who gives a shit? Like, who's gonna watch that, right? So, gone are the days for me where I could do a video that was about some real bizarre topic and still get 100, 200,000, 300,000 views on that video. I even think about, so I have my video, obesity. It's just called Obesity Dash a Dose of Buckley. 1 million views. It's the first video I've ever done to get 1 million views that wasn't music related. There's absolutely no way if I did a video now with a title like obesity that it would get 1 million views, that it would even get 40,000 views on my channel right now, right? So I don't know. That's sort of that one. However, Logan asked if there are any pieces of content that I've made that have never seen the light of day or will never see the light of day. And you know what? I've got one for you right here. So I'm going to do this one for you. This is an very early dose that I had written and never did. I think it was really meant to be. It was within the first 10 doses I was going to do this one. So it was going to be like a dose of Buckley number 3 or 4 or something like that. The reason I didn't do it is that I just thought it was like too try-hard edgy, and you'll see why in a second. And this is the part that links to an earlier question as well. But so, I'll throw my background music on right here, and let's do this dose. So, I had a canker sore last week, which is to people in radio what a finger injury is to a ball player. It's a nuisance, but you can work with it if you're not a pansy. Anyway, I was on Wikipedia, where I go for all my medical self-diagnosis, and sparing you the boring medical jargon, they have no real idea what causes them, and no real cure. Why? Because we have hundreds of doctors and scientists around the world dicking around, wasting time trying to find cures for cancer, when they could be finding cures for cankers. Now, I'm not saying that curing cancer isn't important, but first of all, how many doctors do we really need working on it? You're telling me we can't spare, say, 15 cancer doctors, put them on something else? Second of all, we're never going to cure all cancers. Too much shit causes it, and a large number of people that have got it themselves. I'm all for trying to cure things like breast cancer, brain cancer, testicular cancer. Those seem to be out of our control. But why should we have to suffer with minor inconvenient pain because precious resources are going toward trying to save some moron who smoked 3 packs a day and now is like, oh, why me? Why you? Because you spent the last 40 years committing a very slow suicide, you dumb fuck. That's why. And third, we all gotta die sometime. How old do you want to be? Like 90? You ever watch a 90-year-old walk around? Most of them look like they're struggling more than an anorexic in a stiff... I really fucked this joke up. Let's try that again. Most of them look like they're struggling more than an anorexic in a stiff headwind. No way in Christ do I want to live to be 90. But you know what I do want to live? Oh, I fucked this part up too. But you know what I do want? To live to 60 and not have sores in my mouth. So anyway, the fuck ups, which I would edit, later, are that's the dose. That's a dose that I never actually put out. Again, it was sort of a inspired by Maddox type dose where I'm just being, intentionally shitty about doctors and intentionally kind of stupid about medicine for the sake of making some jokes about why we have canker sores. And I don't know, I don't know if that would say anything. I don't know if there's real satire in there. Some might call it tongue-in-cheek. And I think that would be what I was going for with that type of writing back then. Certainly the sort of angle of what a dose of Buckley was supposed to be or is supposed to be has changed over the many years I've been doing it now, perhaps. But that being said, that is a dose that, aside from right here and now, I guess, was never meant to be or wasn't going to be made and isn't going to be made into an actual video or anything like that. But, there you go. Mikey Lee Ray says, if Kanye West is elected President of America, do you think this will be detrimental or beneficial as a source of comedy for your work? Signed, Down and Out in Deadwood. This guy just really wanted to sign something like one of my advice no one asked for, so I let him. Why not? Who does it hurt? But Mikey Lee Ray, first of all, obviously Kanye's not going to get elected president, and this isn't a wow, they said that about Trump, but literally Kanye West, I don't think is even registered in enough states, and many states don't allow for write-in candidates and things like that. So much for democracy, I guess, or whatever. But either way, there's just no chance. He literally cannot win enough seats or not enough votes in the Electoral College to become president at this point. So he's out. His whole idea is to steal votes from one side or the other, I guess. But I don't really think that he's got a real shot. But let's say that he did. Let's say that he had actually planned this, say, 2 years ahead of time and was smart about it and wasn't just doing this for whatever fucking reasons that he does things. Yeah, I'd like to think it would be a beneficial source of comedy, but I thought that about Trump, and now every time I make a joke about Trump supporters jump on my balls, right? And they're just, oh, you got Trump, the TDS. I don't even know what that fucking stands for, right? But anyway, oh, you got the TDS. Oh, you can't say things bad about Trump. And it's just like, oh my God, people. You can't take a joke about this fucking guy. This is the thing people don't understand, especially young people. But I've been watching, Saturday Night Live since, I used to watch it in the 90s. I've read Mad Magazine for a large number of years in that era. And one thing you guys don't seem to understand is that Obama was kind of an anomaly. And this is what I think is the problem, is that we went from making fun of Bush to praising Obama, perhaps, for good reason, to back to bashing Trump and mocking Trump, right? But we also, like, as if people forget that we mocked the shit out of Bill Clinton. You know, we mocked him for being, for his accent. We mocked him, of course, for his infidelity. We mocked Al Gore for how boring he was. You know, you watch The Simpsons. Watch The Simpsons. Actually, that's a perfect, you know, sort of time capsule, that type of thing, where they make fun of Al Gore a whole bunch of times. The Al Gore doll, and pulls is like, "You are hearing me talk," and then Lisa buys a copy of his book, and he's like, "This calls for a celebration," and he puts on Kool and the Gang Celebration on a record player, and when it plays the chorus of Celebrate Good Times, he goes, "I will." And, like, you know, these types of things, right? So we made fun of him for that. And then Clinton hits on Marge at one point. And it's like, if you, or it's, I can't remember, it's like, if you're ever at the White House, I got a tool shed out back. I'm in there most of the day. And, like, that kind of thing, right? I know my Clinton impression's bad. But anyway, so yeah, like, they made fun of him constantly for, you know, that kind of thing, for his playing the saxophone on Arsenio Hall, all that stuff. So I don't know what to tell you. We make fun of whoever's in charge. You're supposed to. That's the idea. But instead, all of a sudden now, this became this huge patriotic, "I love my president. And if you say anything bad about the president, you're making fun of America, and I won't have that." And it's just like, holy man, like, shut the fuck up, okay? You know, lick another boot. Because, I don't know. They're all stupid. Politicians. All dumb. And Trump is a politician. Plain and simple. Okay? He's not something different. He's the president. President's a politician. Carl says, "Sometimes I can find myself a bit miffed when a song I like is on one of your worst songs lists. Is this a normal response or something to work on?" Well, Carl, yes, there is something wrong with you and you should seek help immediately. No, I mean, like, obviously, the idea behind what I do with the worst songs videos and things like that is it's supposed to be all in good fun. You know, it's not like I'm at the end of the day really, I hate these people and you should too and whatever, right? Like, I don't give a shit. I honestly do not give a shit. Buy whatever you want to buy, listen to whatever you want to listen to, get out of the mindset of like, wow, it's a guilty pleasure for me. No, just have it be a pleasure and don't feel guilty about it, okay? Just enjoy your fucking life because you only get one, and that's sort of the one of the main tenements, we'll call it. Is that a word? Tenet? Tenet? I don't know what the fuck I'm even talking about here. That's one of the main points of what I call positive, or let's just call it positive nihilism, right? So that's the idea, is that you only get to live here once. You really don't have much of a purpose other than you're here. So you got to enjoy it. So just enjoy it. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. You shouldn't get angry. I mean, do whatever you want, though, I guess. Don't get angry at me because I picked some song to make fun of on a list of the worst songs of the year. But I guess if you want to, go ahead, do whatever you want. Like I said, fuck it. But yeah, there's no reason to get angry at me. I'm not angry at you. And again, it's not personal. The idea of me making fun of a song, you're not the song, okay? You like the song, but you're not the song. You're not, I don't want this to turn into Fight Club, you're not your fucking khakis or whatever, but you're not anything that someone makes a joke about. You're not Trump. When someone makes fun of Trump, you're not Trump. So you don't have to respond or defend that. If someone makes fun of Biden, you're not Biden. So again, same deal. You don't have to be angry about that at a personal level. That's ridiculous. You are not, your sports team or a video game that someone reviews badly, or a movie that someone reviews badly or makes fun of or thinks is stupid. You're none of those things. You are you, and you enjoy things, and you just enjoy whatever the fuck you want to enjoy, and understand, listen to those points, because sometimes people might make good points. Man, the things I like are stupid, okay? I'm wearing this KMFDM shirt right now, and I love KMFDM, okay? They're probably there you go. There's a big scoop right here that KMFDM is probably my favorite band that has ever existed, okay? KMFDM sucks, and it's not like there's like a clever, like there's a song called KMFDM sucks, and they make fun of their own, they make fun of themselves, and it's sort of like Primus sucks. If you're a Primus fan, you say Primus sucks. No, just KMFDM sucks, okay? Like, they do all the things I make fun of rappers for doing and other people for doing all the time. Like, they say their own name in songs constantly, and they do a lot of things that are pretty repetitive. They're an industrial band, so they use a lot of electronics and things like that, and whatever, but I really enjoy them. So I wouldn't get mad if someone was like, what, you like this stuff? Like, this sucks. It's like, yeah, okay, well, whatever. It doesn't bother me. So try to work on that. I think everyone should do a better job of working on that, is not getting so overly defensive when someone makes fun of something, because that something isn't you. Now, if they're making fun of you for liking it, I guess, then you go right ahead and, I guess, defend yourself. But ultimately, I would still just be like, okay, whatever. I like it. You don't think I should like it, but I do. There's probably things you like that are stupid. Whatever. Who cares? Maria Salazar has a two-parter. Do you like how Season 8 of Game of Thrones ended? Why or why not? How would you rewrite the ending if you had the chance? And 2, do you like musicals or plays? So I'll take the second part first. I'm not a big musical or plays guy. I did go see Phantom of the Opera as a young man. I think grade 8 or something like that in Toronto. It's fine, I guess. And I recently saw a production of Sweeney Todd here in London by some relatively talented people, and it was fine. But I don't know. It's not really my kind of thing. Musicals and plays. It's just I never really got into them as a kid, which is weird because my dad really likes musicals and plays, and I think my mom does as well. They go to various things every now and then, but yeah, it never really transferred over for me. I just never really cared, you know. They're watching The Sound of Music, and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna go fucking play with Lego or something. And let's go to the other one. Do you like how Season 8 of Game of Thrones ended? Right. So, obviously a lot of, I guess, controversy about this, and I don't know. Here's my thing about any form of entertainment. If someone was like, well, did you like that or whatever? Like, I didn't like how Dexter ended, for example. But they're the creators. Yes, I understand. I'm the audience and so on and so forth, and their job is to please me, I guess, or whatever. But as a creator myself, I want to have the freedom to do whatever the fuck I want to do with my creations as well. If I want to do videos that I don't think that anyone will watch, like the WWE Thunderdome one, I'm going to do it anyway, if I feel like it. I may just release it, you know, I might bury it on a Wednesday or some shit like that, but I'm going to make it. It's just going to happen. So I don't care if other people don't like it. And I think as a creator, you have to be able to take that risk and say, you know what, I don't give a fuck. The other part of that too, with Game of Thrones specifically, is that since the information was shared with how J.R.R. what the fuck is his name? Not J.R.R. Tolkien. The other one. Doesn't matter. The guy that wrote Game of Thrones. Fuck his name. Who gives a shit? He gave all the information of how he was going to end the Song of Ice and Fire story to the producers. So it's very possible that that is exactly what was going to happen. And then, of course, everyone does damage control and says, you know, wow, we took some creative liberties. And then that guy, he's just like, well, I didn't do that. That's not my book. And who knows, and maybe he'll change it now because he saw what, basically he just got a test audience for how he would end his book. And it was like, realized, oh, that they don't like that. Okay, well then I will, I guess, make some changes now. But, or maybe he fucked them over completely and then was like, these idiots. Yeah, they think that I'm gonna brand the fucking emperor or whatever the fuck they did at the end there. So I don't know. It was fine. There was some nice violence and stuff, and uh, I thought that the, dragon fucking lighting that fucker up, that was good stuff, and I don't know. Uh, Whatever. I don't have a real emotional attachment to a thing that I watched 8 seasons of for some reason, and maybe that's telling, but it doesn't really bother me. The ending, I didn't like it. I didn't hate it. It was an ending. I respect the choices of the creative team for doing what they wanted to do with it, if that is indeed what they wanted to do. I don't know. You didn't like fucking what's her face? She fucking goes to kill the Ice King, whatever his name is, right? And then she fucking drops the knife, catches it again, stabs him. Like, whatever, man. That was pretty cool. I don't know. If you don't like that shit, then I guess your standards are much higher than mine, and that's probably fair to say, because one of my favorite movies of all time is Death Race 2000, so maybe I should have no opinion on what is good and not good entertainment. But finally, we end with a serious question. Baram Irani says, I hope I said that right, by the way. Do you worry about the ever-growing threat of pigeon overlords taking over the world, and how would you prepare for such an inevitability? Well, what was your name again? Baram. We actually have a weird thing going on here in London right now, where you can look this up if you feel like, but a lot of dead birds showing up in various neighborhoods, and apparently the some company just put a whole bunch of fucking poison all over the rooftops of these buildings so that the pigeons would eat it and die. So pigeons are pretty stupid. I don't know if it's inevitable that they are going to rise up and take us over. But I will say, worse than pigeons, the university students are back in town and spreading COVID like motherfuckers. We've already got a few confirmed cases and house parties that had outbreaks. So they're probably going to test more people, and we'll probably see a bigger spike, because all these fucking douchebags all grinding up on each other at these fucking parties, and I don't know, fucking doing keg stands, putting their fucking mouths, on the same nozzles, and just being fucking gross, like college students are supposed to be, right? Because that's just what they do. And that's fine any other time than during a fucking pandemic. So, luckily for us, we have a solution for this already. It's that we never let anyone in college or university rise up and become our overlords. We just stuff them down with massive debt, and that way they can never become our leaders. So I guess that's what I would do with the pigeons, in a way, is just make sure that they can't eat, just starve them out, and then we're back to where we are. So hope that answers your question. Hope that answers everyone's questions. This has been a very long edition, I believe, of Patreon Goes Postal, but thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, feel free to send them to me, comment them in the YouTube comments, comment them on Patreon, whatever you want to do to get them to me. I will probably also create another thread for the next time that I want to do this. But once again, thank you for watching. Have a good one. Welcome to Patreon Goes Postal. All right. Guess I don't really need this. I'm not going to start with this. All right, fuck it.